You better turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me rockin' if I can't stop. If I should fall, just go ahead. Go and catch me, baby. Ooh, I live it. That's my true love, true to love. Ooh, I love it. Crank it up, yeah, yeah, yeah. Turn it up on a higher level. Turn it up, we got this.
Break it down like this.
You better grab that tambourine. Bring the bass, we might be wicked. We may be forced to cause a scene. Make some trouble, baby. Ooh, I live it. That's my true love, true to love. Ooh, I love it. Crank it up, yeah, yeah, yeah. Turn it up on a higher level. Turn it up, we got this. We got this. On a higher level. On a higher level. We got this. We got this.
Hello. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I have a few updates for you. Let's see who's here. Hey, Church Nelly. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Fancy. Dorothy Ross, if you are listening to me, I hope you really enjoyed your birthday. Thank you always for being so generous, both with your donations and your time. And I hope you had an amazing one. Right, a couple things to get through today. Actually, some breaking news today. I saw the report on Harry's case come up on Sky News twice, but I couldn't find anything in the actual or written in the news cycle. So Sky News kind of broke the news first. Then it was at least another hour until I could actually get any detail on it. So I'll go into that as well. But we've also got it's like some good news, some bad news. So it's a bit of a balance today. But nonetheless, the case is moving forward, despite what people like the ones on the screen would like, Piers Morgan, because they know that they are in trouble and the day of reckoning is coming. So, first things first. Okay, so it was the Sussex's sixth wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary, sixth wedding anniversary to Harry and Meghan, but they're obviously together for some time before that. And did anyone rewatch the wedding? I know that some squaddies they like to make that a tradition to rewatch the wedding. I know that for some squaddies it's a bit painful to rewatch the wedding now, knowing everything that we do know now. So I know that some don't. But if you did, let me know. Like, do you feel differently watching the wedding now. Harry and Meghan did say in the Netflix documentary that they had their own ceremony, just before a quiet one. And so, for them, like that was their wedding, and all this other stuff, the pomp and the pageantry was just for, the public and the image of the institution. So they had their special time. William, of course, in the this is actually one of my favorite pictures from the wedding. Harry looking at Meghan like she's a living, breathing angel fairy. Meghan blushing, and then William looking salty, salty in the back. Absolutely hilarious. But happy wedding anniversary to our faves. And also a reminder, on the actual wedding day, this funny thing happened. Guy actually rode with the Queen. And one of the areas where Meghan and the Queen actually bonded was over their love of dogs. And that's one of the reasons why Guy actually got to ride with Her Majesty on the wedding day to the ceremony. So, fun fact if you didn't know that. The Sussexes did spend their evening out, and they were with they were at Lucky Steakhouse, where actually Meghan's been spotted a few times, with the CEO of Paramount. FYI, the CEO of Paramount was also in Jamaica for the premiere of One Love, and Harry and Meghan also went to that premiere with his partner and businesswoman Miss Stacey Robbins. So obviously, they've become quite a tight friendship group. Harry, Meghan, CEO of Paramount Pictures, and his partner, out having a good time and enjoying their 6th wedding anniversary. Somebody managed to catch a snap of them out. FYI, guys and dolls, if I pause or go quiet suddenly, it's because I have a really bad post-nasal cough. I get this anytime I have a cold. It was like a bug that I picked up while I was still away, and it's still kind of clearing itself out. So just wanted to say that in case I suddenly disappear. Okay, now what's interesting is on the heels of Harry and Meghan's 6th wedding anniversary, the Australian tabloid press have been pumping out a lot of these articles about Harry, sorry, Harry and Meghan's marriage being a train wreck after 6 years, them being silent. I don't think the fact that they're silent on the wedding anniversary is necessarily unusual because they've never really posted anything for their wedding anniversary. But I bring this up because while the tabloid press, especially the British tabloid press, are generally quite nasty about these things, I've noticed that the Australian tabloid press are even more unhinged. Like articles like this, like Prince Harry and Meghan unmitigated train wreck following 6 years together, those type of headlines have died down quite a bit in the UK tabloids. But they seem to keep going in the Australian tabloids, and I guess maybe I don't know, maybe it's because Rupert Murdoch has more control over there. But it's interesting to just note the difference. Um, Anywho, moving on to should we move on to should we move on to Piers Morgan? Should we move on to him? So Piers Morgan was on BBC once again claiming that he never hacked a phone. He did not hack a phone. Now Denise Welsh, she reposted this from the BBC tweet where this video was, where Piers Morgan is denying ever having hacked a phone, and she posted, but Tina Weaver and Mark Thomas, who worked alongside him on Sunday Mirror, told Graham Johnson to hack my phone and place a listening device in my hotel room. Funny that. Now here's the thing. I actually do believe Piers Morgan when he says he never hacked a phone, because he's the type of person to get other people to do the dirty work for him. So I do actually believe him when he says that he never had to phone. However, he still presided over a culture of hacking. He never intervened, never alerted authorities, and so many people around him were getting stories under his editorship via hacking, blagging, illegal information gathering. So I believe as one of the most, powerful editors of the time, he does bear some responsibility. And Harry and many other people in the phone hacking inquiry also believe that as well. They believe that Piers Morgan should bear a lot more responsibility than he has, because he's pretty much gotten away scot free. And Harry seems determined to be able to uncover whatever it is in more detail that Piers Morgan and anyone else around him did. Now, let's just listen to what Piers actually had to say in response to allegations of hacking.
I have to address this. Since you were here last, a High Court judge has ruled that you did know that there was hacking of voicemails when you were the editor of the Daily Mirror. Did you know that anyone at the paper was using material that they got by hacking voicemails?
No, and I've said this consistently in 20 years. I'm not going to say any more about it, other than to say they found in one case. I mean, I was the main story. I noticed the BBC led on me for days.
You hate being the main story, of course.
Well, I didn't really listen. It's fine. I mean, I find the whole idea of Prince Harry suing anyone for privacy involving the royal family, given how aggressively he's invaded the family's privacy himself, laughable. But on this central point, I've said for 20 years I did not know about phone hacking at the Daily Mirror. They found one story in that whole case which the judge concluded may or may not have come from phone hacking. And I'm sorry, that's not enough.
Well, the judge, and it's Judge Fancourt at the High Court, he accepted the evidence of several witnesses who claimed you were aware that stories you were publishing were the product of phone hacking. So you're saying today that the High Court is wrong, and they were wrong to say, and I will quote from the judge, there was compelling evidence that the editors of each newspaper knew very well that voicemail interception was used extensively and habitually. Judge Fancourt is wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat myself again. There is no evidence that I ever knew about phone hacking. And I would also say, in relation to those who trotted down to the High Court to give evidence, I was never allowed that privilege. I wasn't called by either side to talk.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not realize that my mic was still off. I was saying that the only thing that we actually don't have any hardline evidence for is that Piers Morgan himself physically hacked a phone. But otherwise, there's video of him describing to Charlotte Church how a phone would be hacked. There's other people in the original Leveson inquiry saying that they were told by Piers Morgan, how a phone would be hacked if you were going to hack a phone. So he can't even say that he didn't have knowledge, because he clearly did. He's just lucky that there is no hardline evidence of him literally holding a phone and hacking one. But that's not to say that he didn't do that either. We just don't have hardline evidence of him doing that. But he clearly had some level of knowledge that hacking was going on.
About this at all, and yet I became the front poster boy for the trial, which I found ludicrous. There were a lot of people down there.
Well, he became the poster boy for the trial because he was the most powerful editor at the time. So, you know, the fish rots from the head.
Spewing utter nonsense.
But you say there's no evidence that you were aware.
There isn't.
But I'm asking you directly, were you
I've
ever
just
aware?
answered you.
And have you ever listened to a voicemail without the consent of the person whose phone it was?
No, you asked me that last time.
I didn't. Last time you didn't quite answer,
Well,
which
you
is
can
why
ask
I'm
me
asking you
each
again.
time I come on. You can ask me the same questions. I don't mind. I've been asked about this for 20 years. There is no evidence that I knew. If somebody wants to produce some that doesn't involve people like Alistair Campbell trotting down, who spun this country into a legal war, or Omid Scobie, who published a load of nonsense about the royal family.
But you
See, he does that every single time to deflect. I do apologize. I don't actually have any of the footage of him talking to Charlotte Church about hacking or any from the phone hacking trial. I think I will get that for the next podcast because he is lying.
These people go down there and they're allowed to spray me in court, and I wasn't allowed to defend myself.
I'm giving you that.
He's saying he wasn't allowed to defend himself, but from what I can see, he did not want to go down to court at all, and he should be careful what he wishes for because he may well get the chance to defend himself in court, and you know, standing face to face with the judge. I don't think Morgan will be as confident as he usually is on his TV talk shows.
Opportunity right now just to get this absolutely on the record. I'm not asking you, is there evidence? I'm asking you directly, have you ever
I've just answered
listened
you.
to a voicemail message of somebody who did not have without their consent?
No, I've just answered you.
Okay, and that's clear. And last time you didn't quite answer, and you have today, and
next
that's
time
now.
I come
And
back,
that's
we
now
don't
on
have to have the same conversation.
Well,
because
well,
the BBC
circumstances
I have to say, the
changed.
BBC has revelled in my involvement in this without any actual evidence to justify me being centre stage.
And you know we have to address this.
Yeah, well, deny. That's what he's going to do, but we'll see what happens when he's actually in front of a judge. Now, in regards to Harry's court case, this was the breaking news today. Prince Harry cannot expand case against the Sun's publisher to include claims about Meghan High Court rules, but the Duke of Sussex legal team has been granted permission in principle for amendments relating to further journalists. So I'm going to read this report directly. This is from Sky News. It's actually broke this morning while I was having my breakfast, but it took a while for it to for some details to come through. Let's give us a sec. Okay, Prince Harry cannot expand his legal claims against the Sun's publisher to include allegations about his wife, Meghan, the High Court has said. Harry alleges he was unlawfully targeted by journalists and private investigators working for news group newspaper titles The Sun and now defunct News of the World, which closed in 2011. The Duke of Sussex has already lodged civil claims against NGN at the High Court. But in March, he sought to amend his case to add new allegations, including that The Sun ordered private investigators to target his then girlfriend and now wife Meghan in 2016. So this was the private investigator that went to Los Angeles. I think he managed to get access to her social security number and some other details that were illegal, and he was looking for people in the area to get details about Meghan, and he didn't really find anything. I think that private investigator also fessed up to some of what he did. During the 3-day hearing earlier this year, Harry's legal team also said knowledge of unlawful acts went right to the top of the organisation. Today, the High Court refused the Duke permission to add new allegations relating to the years 1994, 1995, and 2016 to his case. He was also denied permission to make other amendments, adding to the allegations of phone hacking. But Harry's legal team was granted permission in principle to name and make allegations against certain further journalists and private investigators. Claims against Rupert Murdoch, however, will not be part of the case against NGN, which will be heard at a High Court trial in January 2025 alongside other claimants. Mr. Justice Fancourt ruled the individual allegations against Mr. Murdoch should not be allowed to be taken to trial, stating they added nothing material to the case and that some amounted to a new case, but said some other amendments could be made. Interesting. The judge said, I am disposed to take a restrictive approach to allowing the proposed amendments. on grounds of delay and because permitting all the amendments will either prejudice the trial date or at least create an unlevel playing field on which NGN is running uphill to be ready for the full trial. The claimants have sought to introduce a vast quantity of new allegations and material, much of which is likely to be contentious, and there is no prospect of the time listed for trial accommodating these allegations. So, following the ruling, a spokesperson for NGN said the court thoroughly vindicated their position. Not really, on like one count. Like, this is a very small victory in the face of everything else. I did not give permission to introduce large and significant portions of the amendments. Mr. Justice Fancourt said in his judgment at para 79, there is a desire on the part of those running the litigation on the claimant's side to shoot at trophy targets, whether those are political issues or high-profile individuals, they said. He stated that this cannot become an end in itself and recognize the intention of the claimants to make amendments for collateral reasons that do not further the proceedings. The spokesperson continued, NGN stated that such collateral reasons were primarily aimed at giving publicity to allegations against NGN executives. So it goes on to talk about Hugh Grant and the fact that he was reluctant okay, let me just read this. Actor Hugh Grant had been due to pursue similar claims against his son in the High Court trial next year, but he reluctantly accepted an enormous sum of money to settle his case. Yes, Hugh Grant actually did a whole thread on this on Twitter where he basically explained that, you know, if he lost, he would have to pay the son and, you know, would be going into the tens of millions. The 73-year-old film star said at the time, I don't want to accept this money or settle. I would love to see all the allegations that they denied tested in court. But the rules around civil litigation mean that if I proceed to trial and the court awards me damages that are even a penny less than the settlement offer, I would have to pay the legal costs of both sides, which is an astronomical fee. And that's why it's only really people like Prince Harry, Elton John, and also others involved in a, you know, group litigation, or in special cases, like for example, the the mother of Stephen Lawrence, where she can get legal aid. They're really the only ones that can, you know, take the press to court because it's just so expensive. So a small loss, but also a small victory. Hopefully, you know, Harry's legal team will be able to amend things to be able to take the case where they want it to go. Right, let's go to your comments and then I'll get on to the next thing. Thank you so much for being patient with me, folks. I do really have a bad cough, but I'm getting through it. Let's go to your comments. Hi, Connie Barmer. Hi, Louise. Hi, Annie. Dorothy Ross, if you're in the chat, I hope you had a fantastic birthday. Hi, Treva Dilly. Hey, Rahini. How you doing? I know I need to do a call-in at some point when I'm feeling a bit better. I really want to hear your voices. Oh, hey, Ethan's husband. How you doing? Hey, fancy. Cookies and cream. Hey. Yeah, Angelina. Piers Morgan is slowly being backed into a corner. He's not gonna have many places to run at this point. Rahini, yeah, if he can't expand, he can simply bring in a new case involving Meghan. I don't really know why that wasn't a new case in itself, and I don't know, maybe they thought that it would make the current case stronger, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so, but I guess that's what's gonna happen now. Hey, ladies, Tom. Happy that you're on this live as well. Oh yes, Rahini. Now that I am actually back in the UK a lot sooner than I expected to be, yes, you can actually send me my sexy things. That'll be amazing because then when whenever I do go back overseas again, then I'll have my sexy things, my crochet bikini to wear on the beach. Thank you so much. I will email you. Thank you for reminding me. Oh God, y'all just saw how utterly awful I just looked. Yeah, I really do feel awful and have a terrible cold. Um, okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so on every single one of my pages, um, everybody keeps asking me about Kate and what I think about that situation. I'm not really going to say anything more at this point. Number one, because there isn't really a whole lot to say. Number two, because I believe everything that the Spanish press is saying. And until the palace says anything more that we can pick apart or release any more pictures or audio or video, um, or until somebody in the British press starts squealing, I don't really think there's a whole lot to say. I just think at this point it's just like just let the days go, right? If you want more of like the tea type of news, then I would say either go to Tisa Tells or go to Murad Morali because they've been like talking about it in a lot more detail. But yeah, I believe what the Spanish press is saying, and I just feel like I don't really want to add anything to that right now because I just don't see the point. Quite frankly, I'm kind of bored of the story. Um, and I just think eventually, everything's gonna come out eventually. So it's like I don't feel like yeah, I don't feel like I need to keep harping on about that story. Because I feel like those of us who are in the space and who are in the know, like we know that we're not being told everything. So it's like there's really nothing else to say. Um yeah, that's all. For those of you who keep asking me what I think about that situation, that's what I think about that situation. Because we have much nicer situations to think about and talk about. Like, I am still seeing unseen pictures from Harry and Meghan's tour. Beautiful pictures like this. Meghan with our good sis here in a gala, beautiful African print. And also, this young man who got the chance to meet Harry and Meghan, he posted, "The past year has been a canvas upon which I've dared to dream, painted my dreams, overcome obstacles, and forged new vistas. I felt the guiding hand of destiny time and time again, and by God, I will sculpt a legacy that inspires generations to come with the wisdom of yesterday and the excitement of tomorrow." The previous year ended on a big note with a close meetup with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, with a few other Diana Award recipients representing others globally. The highlight of it was his comments on my project. So he actually got to meet Harry and Meghan. I don't know if he's like some kind of artist, architect, but there he is with this beautiful art. And our faves and some other young people. And that's one of the great things that Harry and Meghan are really good at, connecting with young people all around the world. And I'm so glad that Harry actually confirmed while they were in Nigeria that we are going to see more of Harry and Meghan doing these type of tours because there's only like Harry said, there's only so much you can do over Zoom. You can get so much more done and really get a feel for things in person. So be prepared for more of this. And I just have to say thank you to all of the OG squaddies who fought so hard in this space, who fought so hard for Harry and Meghan, because we may not be here now. And those of us who didn't get to, weren't really in this space when Harry and Meghan were on tours as royals, we now get to enjoy them on tour as non-royals, doing business on their own for their own private businesses and humanitarian efforts And I think it's going to be even more fun and more enjoyable than all that stuffy, stuff that they do for royal tours. It's going to be fresh, it's going to be modern, it's going to be fun, and we've just gotten a glimpse of that from the Nigeria tour. All right. Was there anything else that I wanted to? Oh yes, this before I log out. Richard Eden, the very messy Richard Eden, aka Maureen. I've been saying for the longest time on this podcast that the royal rota, who is there to uplift and uphold the royal family, when it becomes more profitable to do the opposite, they will do that exactly. I think I've been saying this pretty much from the beginning of when I started this podcast, and now here we are. For whatever reason, Richard Eden decided to be very messy this week and do this article titled "How Rose Hanbury is Blossoming in the Court of Queen Camilla." Now, everybody that knows why this is messy. What I want to know is why Richard Eden decided to do this article of all the articles. Mind you, when that famous or now infamous Photoshop image went viral, there were a lot of publications, Tatler, Vogue, that started posting articles very suddenly about Rose Hanbury or reposting articles that they posted years ago. And I think that a lot of these royal writers, they figured out that it gets traffic now every time they talk about Rose. Mind you, it was Richard Eden all the way back in, oh gosh, when are we looking at now? Just before the pandemic, so maybe 2017, 18. It was him that first posted articles about a so-called rural rivalry between Kate and Rose. And then Dan Wooten, the now defunct Dan Wooten, also posted a very similar article, and then from nowhere stopped posting about that, and then switched teams to being anti-Harry and Meghan, and has been so ever since. And we now know about the whole situation between, Christian Jones and, paying for stories and how all that went down. And for some time, the likes of Eden, Dan Wooten haven't really, brought this story up, but all of a sudden now they are. And it's rather interesting that they are, because obviously Eden writes for the Daily Fail. And the Daily Fail, I think, are a little bit more aligned with Camilla. I think Kensington Palace, William is more aligned with the Sun now for some reason. So, I'm here for the mess. Are y'all here for the mess? Definitely something going on behind the curtain. Oh, and by the way, the young man holding Charles's cape in that photo, that's Rose Hanbury's son. So a lot of people are wondering, that was a rather interesting choice to have Rose Hanbury's son carrying Charles's cape. This was at I think it was the Order of the British Empire ceremony that they had in St. Paul's just a couple of days ago. It was interesting that they had him carrying Charles's cape and not George or Louis or Charlotte. Mind you, Rose Hanbury's husband is in the Queen's Court, so I don't know how these things work in terms of, order and titles and whatnot. But when you're under such a microscope, making choices like that, people are going to pick up on it. And I just find it interesting that they wouldn't have picked George or Charlotte. Anywho, enough of that. As a reminder, we have lots of positive things to look forward to, and that's really what matters. So I'm going to end with your comments. Thank you so much for being patient with me today, because I'm not feeling great. As you saw, I am feeling and looking like an absolute mess. So thank you for being patient with me. Cookies and Creamy said, Karma is going to do an extended stay with Richard Eden. I think so. Yeah, Maureen is being hella messy. And I want to know why. Okay. Hi, everyone. If you're just joining us, we are about to wrap up. Sorry, Legs, you will have to watch replay, but thank you so much for coming. It's so interesting. Like, now that I'm back on this side of the planet, people who I used to see a lot more often stopped watching lives because of the time. Now I'm seeing your names again. All right, folks. I'm going to end things there. Thank you so much to Carol Lund for being a member for 18 months. Much appreciated. FYI, just a reminder, if you are a member on YouTube, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you would switch to memberships on Buy Me a Coffee. Just because YouTube takes such a big cut, and just in general, of course, always grateful to however you want to donate, if you do want to donate, but it does help me more if you donate either through Buy Me a Coffee or through PayPal, then obviously through YouTube. All right, folks, I will see you tomorrow for more updates. Ciao.
You better turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me rocking if I can't stop. If I should fall, just go ahead. Go and catch me, baby. Ooh, I live it. That's my true. I love it. Crank it up, yeah. Turn it up on a higher level. Turn it up, we got this.
Break it down like this. You better grab that tambourine. Bring